Okay, you're on.
Okay, good morning everyone. It is Wednesday, November 20th. It's just after 8 a.m. Technical difficulty, but we're ready to roll. We're going to start this meeting by standing up and doing a pledge of allegiance. Even though it's not on the agenda, we should do a pledge of allegiance. Let's do a pledge of allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. How about roll call? I have nobody to do that, so let's do a roll call. Does anyone want to pretend they're, you're our secretary? Roll call, please.
Oh, where's my list?
Yeah, we usually takes.
We have Joe, we have Bob, Rob, we have Charlie, we have Mary Liz, we have Dennis, we have Paula. We are missing Andrew. We have Jeff, we have Valerie, we are missing Marty and Joe.
Okay, that counts for whom we're missing and who's here. Good job. Check that one out. Moving to consent agenda items. We have on the consent agenda the October 2024 regular meeting minutes and the October 2024 financial report. Does anyone have a motion to approve that, or does anyone have any comments about this? Thank you. Good second. I'll second. Thank you. That's moved and seconded. Next item would be a director's report. As we do not have a director, we will have no director.
Did you take a vote?
Oh, sorry. No, I did not. I'm just on roll. Let's just do this. So let's have a vote. Thank you for keeping me honest.
To vote on the consent agenda.
Yes, all in favor.
Yeah. Sorry, I forget you're all in favor. I'm not used to this body, right? I'm used to the other rules. All in favor of accepting our consent agenda?
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes. Thank you. And then we go to item number 4, where we do not have a director's report. Our director, Joan, gave her letter of resignation yesterday, and she has decided that effective immediately, which was yesterday, she will no longer be serving this body. She's been here for a really long time. She wrote a letter and said that it's with great sadness but with joy for the future that I'm submitting my resignation as the executive director of the Clausen DDA effective immediately. I've enjoyed building and leading this organization for the past 17 years, having a hand in the positive changes and growth in our downtown, and privilege of working and forging friendships with so many small business owners and volunteers. This letter will be part of the minutes. If anyone would like to read the rest of it, help yourself. You're welcome to that. I'd like to thank Joan for her service. This was a shock to many of us that this was going to be an immediate decision. It's been talked about by many members of this board for several months, and I know that I was a little shocked by it, and I was hoping that we could have a better transition, but I'm confident that with this body, with the help of others, we will be able to move this board along without any hiccups. But saying that, we have no director, hence we have no director report. So we'll move on to number 5, which will be work plan and project update. Does anyone have anything they can bring to light on events?
So following the pumpkin crawl, had pretty good success with that. Thank you for everybody that did volunteer from the DDA board, and then all the outside volunteers as well. Really made the event happen a lot better, a lot more smooth, so really appreciate that. Trick and Treasure was also a really good event. A lot of participants, a lot of people downtown, good energy. We had beautiful weather the whole day, so.
Can I say one thing about Trick or Treasure?
Yeah.
If anybody has extra candy from Trick or Treasure that you're trying to unload, we are stuffing the bags for the children in foster care at Judson shortly. So if you're long on Smarties, we'll help you with that.
Somehow it all disappeared from my
Oh, that's
sorry. Let me know what the future looks.
okay.
Do we have an accounting for those events?
Oh, my goodness.
Something I've always wanted to see, like how much we expended, how much we took in, what the difference is, as opposed to cash positive.
Give me one second, I'll pull it right up.
Thanks.
You just want bottom line numbers.
There's only 3 numbers.
So our total revenue from the event for Trick and Treasure was $2,435. And our expenses were $41.49. So total revenue on that one was $286.
Did we spend $4,000 on candy?
Yep. $25.98 at Costco. Target $259. Target again for $134. BJ's Wholesale Club $16.88. And there was Home Depot for $71.92. I'm not sure which the Home Depot one was. I gotta go back through and look at that.
That's fine, it just seems like, I bought candy this year.
It's in line with
But,
last
oh
year's.
my gosh.
It has gone up like crazy,
Yeah.
and we go through a tremendous amount of it.
When our Girl Scout troop, it's the volume, for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
When our Girl Scout troop did the park one, we were like,
Oh,
asked
yes.
how much money to try to get 1,500,
Yeah.
and so now we multiply that out by all the businesses.
No,
Totally valued.
it was great, and everyone gets a lot, you start off slow, and then you start getting rid of it, which is good. And then the other event?
And then the other event, we collected around $2,550. Our expenses were, sorry, there was no total on that one. Total expenses was $174.28 out of that one for the pumpkin crawl.
174, something?
Yep, $100.74 or $100. And then, yeah, $25.50 was collected.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right, any other event? Things we want to discuss? No, moving on to landscaping and streetscaping.
One quick thing on the events, I did pull up our stats. We did make 17% more than we usually do, so the events do help the local businesses as well.
Oh, that's awesome. So no landscaping and streetscaping conversations today?
The only thing that we did have was we do need to get the landscapers empty before the freeze, because they still have water in them, they have not been drained yet. Otherwise they will crack and we will lose that.
So what's the normal process for that?
Last year Joan did it and then I helped her out move them, so I can walk around and try to drain them.
I'm sure if you ask for help, we can give you help if you identify where they are and,
The ones in the downtown at the corner,
oh, just those.
like those are the ones we just bought.
Is there like a spigot on the side?
There's 2 spigots on it actually. So there's a reserve well and then a regular drain well. So last year, only one of the drains got pulled, so we had to go through and pull the other ones later. So,
When you said pull, is there something that, a stopper that,
I used a flathead screwdriver on one of them and then some of them I had to turn. So,
I think we have the 4 corners covered here, so maybe everyone can take a section or something. I can take the one.
yeah, just don't lose the plugs. That's
Just like a jet ski, right?
right.
did you say that they had been moved as well?
Last year we moved them for plows. I don't know with the DPW if they want that moved again. We just had to move them so that they could make sure with the brush truck could get through.
Like more towards the sidewalk?
So we moved them over to the Pizza Hut lot because that had the most space that we could have all of them over in that area.
Like in the,
Like kind of, it's on the sidewalk, kind of right in that general area. So we moved all of them over there. I think we have 2 more this year though. If I remember correctly, did they get put out yet? No.
Mr. Raker, is this something we can coordinate with
Absolutely.
DPW? So
Yes.
you find a spot for them?
I'll talk with Trevor and we'll talk with Charlie and figure it out.
Okay, great, thank you. Any other landscaping/streetscaping comments, concerns? Okay, moving on to new business, action items. We have the acceptance of retirement announcement of Executive Director Joan Horton. I don't know if it's necessary to accept it, but we can, for formality, if you would like to.
I think we should accept it.
Okay, second?
second.
Roll call, please. Oh, sorry, vote, please. All in favor of accepting Joan Horton's, sorry. I thought you were going to say something. Aye.
I'm against it. If we don't have to accept it, if we have the opportunity.
Yeah, I wish you
to
could be here for the
I mean,
transition
I don't
as
know
well,
how that looks, but I'm not gonna vote to accept her immediate retirement because I think there's a huge loss, which we're already seeing. Like, we just don't have, we hired her to run a lot of things and we don't have all of that.
It's a loss that's going to continue to show itself for quite a while.
Well, she resigned. Do you have any inclination that if this body doesn't accept her resignation, she's going to show up and say, I'm back? Like,
No, but I think
it's
she'd
not
be
that.
available for consulting services if needed,
Okay, well,
which would be a positive thing as this board moves forward with the new director.
we can talk about that in a minute when we get to that next portion, because I've had conversations with people on this board who were very adamant that we needed to move immediately to address that situation. That was not part of the conversation, and that came from several voices. And I think, also speaking with Annika from Oakland County, she advised against that. So when we get to that section, we'll talk about that, but let us, I don't think we're clear on whether that motion passed or failed, so let's try this one more time. All those in favor of accepting the retirement of Joan Horton, please raise your hand. And anyone who's opposed to it? Okay.
It doesn't mean anything, but
Right.
Right, and I mean, I think that's a great sign of loyalty to your friend. I think that's admirable. It doesn't change her.
Colleague, I mean.
Pardon me?
I just want to be clear, colleague, like, I feel like if we have a working relationship, the word friend gets thrown around a lot, like.
It wasn't a cut, it wasn't a dig, actually, that's like, I would rather have a friend that is a colleague than a colleague that is not a friend, is how I would put it. So, not a dig at all.
Right, okay.
You built relationships, we've all built relationships, those are precious, we should treasure them, it's great.
My only comment is that I wish she would have stayed on, so my acceptance is just because I don't believe that she's going to be coming back. I think she did some wonderful things in 17 years. Every place I go, people know from class, they say, man, we really love your downtown. And I think she was hugely responsible for that.
Right, and I agree, like we had talked at previous board meetings about having that transition period,
Exactly.
just to gather all the information, and I think that's a huge loss.
It's a huge loss, and I agree with it. And
Yeah,
like I said, I
that
hate
makes
someone leaving, not being here when they leave,
Right.
but
Well, and let's make it extremely clear that she was not asked to leave. No, and I did ask her, in all transparency, when she assembled the agenda, I said, please include your letter of resignation so that we can discuss it. This has been discussed for 2 or 3 meetings when she's let it out that she was no longer going to be here. It was her call to do that.
I'm not sure
It was-
she felt she had a choice.
I don't know the conversations that you had with her personally, but I know the conversations that you and I had about her, so I don't know if that had any implication with that at all. And bottom line is, she submitted her letter of resignation, and we're gonna have to move on, so we'll just do that, and I respect her, she did a great job. I would love this to be on a great, happy note, because I think it's horrible to take someone's reputation and, tarnish it in any way, but she did do things for the DDA, and people do like her.
Make a comment as well?
Of course.
In talking with a few people and the financial director, thought it appropriate to recommend that the board offered her some type of severance compensation. Financial director thought maybe paying her through the end of the year, which comes out to around $3,000. So, I don't know how everybody feels about that, but I would feel like that would be appropriate given that she, worked for seemingly very little compensation for a long time. And I know she had a big part in helping get our project moving and going through the finish line, so I don't know if we can make a motion for that or not, but I would if I could.
You can make any motions you choose.
All right, yeah, I would make a motion to, that the DDA compensate Joan as a severance package, $3,000, which essentially is her salary through the end of the year.
Second.
Does it matter if it is called severance or if it's called paid through the end of the year? Are there any implications in that? From my world,
I think
sometimes there are implications. It's the same,
It
right?
seemed like it
want
it
to be the
was
same.
discussed as a severance, as a pay, effective on her resignation, or effective right away, but I don't know that it matters to me.
Okay. And I would say, I would like to add something to that says contingent upon passing off all passwords, materials. Like we have, as far as I know, we have nothing, because I've had a couple couple of email conversations with her within the past week, and then nothing else since our previous meeting, other than volunteering day. So I don't know what her intent is, I don't know what she's left with you guys. Has she left anything with you? Do we have work moving forward? Do we have passwords? Do we have all of those things? Anyone know?
We might have the October closeout events and finish everything she had for the last month.
I have the UFD password because that's on our agenda to talk about the UFD program.
But we have, she holds more than that.
Oh, right, I know, that's the thing.
I know that she's not withholding anything. I would assume that as the chair, you had discussed a transition here, but I'll be glad to call her and make sure it happens.
No, I mean, I'm not afraid to do that. It hasn't, I'm not afraid to do that. I have no problem doing the things that I'm responsible for. Mr. Riker?
As just a point of moving forward, maybe if you want to make a friendly amendment to the motion, that those contingencies be part of the motion and then take one.
Yeah, and I would like to do that. I'd like to amend your motion to include that we receive all passwords, property, keys, anything that is belonging to the city, and then, of course, then we will provide a $3,000 reserve motion, a $3,000 sentence. That's for all involved.
I do know that Joan has a bunch of stuff in her garage and she would like somebody to pick up. I don't know what it is. Who knows?
We still have it at the TV until it has, it's there.
Okay, that's easy. So we had a motion. Do we have a second for that motion?
I'll second.
And then all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that passes. We will request that she provide us all city property, passwords, anything job ending, and
I don't think she
then,
has city property, does she?
okay, DDA property. You're correct, you got me. And then we'll provide that severance upon receipt. So someone will need to draft a letter. Generally, you have a letter for something like that. It says you turned all of these things in, and then you do kind of a trade-off.
Can I forgot who the second was on Paula's amended motion. Charlie?
Yeah.
Or, okay. Thank you.
Who's gonna be in charge of all that?
I'll draft the letter. I have no problem doing that. That's
Who's
easy.
going to be in charge of all the stuff?
Pardon me?
The stuff,
The stuff that's in her garage.
I mean, the keys to whatever the keys are to.
I guess I will.
I can get it.
I'll do it till we appoint someone.
And we can put everything in the DDA office.
Is it open?
That's locked.
With the keys, we get.
The keys are inside. You said it's a garage
Or you're in
full of
charge.
stuff.
Yeah.
So where would that be stored? Do we have storage anywhere else aside from someone's garage? That's.
Yeah, it probably wasn't this, but.
I have space in a warehouse if we need space. I don't know.
Great.
We'll probably need space.
Oh,
Yeah.
it does sound like it.
I got you.
If we do go pick it up, yeah.
It's always been a challenge figuring out what to do with them.
I think it's
Yeah.
more several garages, so it would be weird.
It would be nice if we had a place to put it. I've had it in our warehouse.
I think Kathy used to have things in her garage.
I'll store the stuff
There's a
in
battery
my warehouse,
around town.
and then the keys and stuff, someone else has to hold all that.
I would suggest
I'll take the keys.
why don't, Valerie, I'd be happy to help you draft the letter to Joan.
Yeah, I can do it.
We'll send it to Joan and we'll ask her to turn everything into the chair.
I just said I would do that.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, I have no problem doing that. So that it, that topic for right now? Okay, moving on to consideration of Yifty downtown dollars. Motion for small business Saturday.
Yes, so I would just do a little bit of an overview for new members. EFD is a company that offers a gift card program that we started in 2020. So we offer the downtown dollars gift cards, which are good at a variety of businesses in downtown Boston. I think everybody participates.
Not quite.
Not quite everybody, but most businesses participate and accept them. They're a digital gift card. There's no physical card, but there's a digital redemption process. So in the past, we started in 2020 and we had huge success, and so we've had maybe more limited success in the past years, but it still puts a lot of money back into our businesses. So I pulled like the data from the Gifty account. Like the last 12 months, we sold 154 gift cards of a value of $8,615. So that's quite a bit of money that stays right in our downtown businesses. And what we do normally is we refund, or we add more money to that account at this meeting the last couple of years. Last year we added $1,000, the year prior we added $2,500, and that's to give an extra bonus. So if you buy a $25 gift card, you get an extra $5. If you buy a $50 gift card, you get an extra $10, and if you buy a $100 gift card, you get an extra $25 bonus. So that bonus money is what we're funding, and then any fees that are associated with the gifting program, which there are some. The redemption rate on the gift cards is like 84%, so I think that's pretty successful in general. So we have $750 in the account right now, so we still have some leftover funds. The last gift card was bought one last month, and then prior to that in August, so they kind of trickle in through the year, but then November is kind of holiday shopping. We try to hit that and do the promo values in November.
Can I just point out that the first year was much more robust than subsequent years because there was a grant for matching funds?
Yes,
from
there was a
somebody.
large
It was
DTE.
huge.
DTE, yeah.
DTE, or consumers. I
It was
couldn't.
Anyway,
consumers.
I'm sorry.
they doubled your money, so there was a huge
Yeah.
response to that one. Now with the 25% or whatever it is bonus, that with 20 or 25% bonus, it's still a strong program, but not as.
I think
as
also
viable
it's
as
the fact that
that
it was
first year.
like COVID era, everybody was kind of gangbusters and supporting local businesses.
And I just want to
we
be
were
clear-
online a lot, so.
Clear that the numbers haven't decreased because the program is not strong, it's just that first year was berserk.
Yeah, yeah.
How do you know who participates? Do you get a list emailed to you, or is there a logo on the front of the store that says, I participate?
I definitely have some like logistical questions for Joan or for the Yifty customer service rep. Yes, so I could see the names. I see lots of familiar local names in there, which was kind of fun. Like, oh, look at all these people buying gift cards. So I don't know that there's anything that we have to do, but I know that we can get the information. But I wasn't entirely sure whether there's an active role, like if the DDA director email gets a notification and she has to then push something out.
On the business side, you have to activate your POS systems to accept it, because you basically had to enter it as a manual card. We had an issue where we did it on one of the keypads and then the other keypads didn't work.
Okay.
Technology's improved a little bit more, so it could be a thing that's not an issue anymore, but that's not the only thing that's got for participation that was the bigger thing.
The people who buy the gift cards can go to the FD website and see the list. I think this is your question.
That was my
See the
question.
list of everybody in town who participated.
I'm sorry,
That was-
I definitely did not hear that.
That was my question, where can I use it?
Yeah.
Yeah, from our back end, we can see who is participating as far as who has purchased them.
Good,
Basically, you should just come to Charlie and me.
good enough.
Just direct it.
Yeah, there's a map. It's a user-friendly website, so you can go and
It's
see the
really
list
easy,
and
and
the
it
map.
reminds you that it sends you announcements saying you've still got money in the gift card account. And it's a very good program, and it's something that's used by communities all over the place.
Yeah, yeah, it looks well run. We just, on the same conversation with logistical things, we'll have some things to figure out because.
Charlie, you were saying you put on your POS, like,
So-
what POS do you have?
So we got a sheet that just basically has like a temporary credit card, one that's like you put it through for a dime, right? And then we use one of the customers. So when we manually enter it in, if you don't manually enter it in, it sees it as like a fraud transaction. If you do it without doing this activation code. So it was one of those, like we did it once and pretty much never had to do it again after that.
It's just an alternate tender.
Yeah, but pretty easy to use. I mean, the biggest issue it runs into is if they have a $50 gift card and their bill's $100, you have to specify the $50. Otherwise, it will just keep declining, and then they can't tip on it. That would be the other thing. But it's just a little bit of coaching your team on how to put them in and whatnot. So.
I've never done it, so I don't.
Yeah, did you get feedback on the people who use them, the businesses that are using them, to find that they're better with it over the years? Because I bought tons of them in the beginning and gave them as gifts, and people were like, nobody will take them. Because people had problems like.
It's really teaching your team, because it's like, I mean, even for me with the, if you get say a Visa gift card, it's the same situation. You bring that through, if they don't know how much is on that Visa gift card, and I'm trying to ring $22 up, and it's $21.50, it's gonna decline. So you kind of play that game of, okay, I think I have $50 on it, put it in, try it.
I think that the merchants have learned how to work it over the years that we've had it, and it's
And it does seem smoother too, like processing.
I think that's the key there, is it's like a gift card and you have to know how much is on it.
Yeah, and it's that second one that's usually the issue for people is if they spend just a little bit on, say, a $50 or $100, they don't know what that number is. So, like my team, we encourage them to write down like what the total was spent on it, so they at least know. You
Can you
spent
look that card up?
Yeah, you can.
Maybe at the point of purchase of the gift card, please keep track of your balance on it.
One of the problems is it's not, we don't get so many of them that all of the cashiers necessarily would, it's just not a repetitive thing. But I think it's way better, I know that it's way better than it was, and it's certainly something that's surmountable and somebody can always get an answer. But I don't think that you'll have, if you buy 50,000 of them again this year, I don't think you'll have a problem to the first year.
Let's see, I don't know, let's see what's under the rock in front of my house today. If that money's there, I'm in. It'll be great.
I mean,
I know we had this
there's only
conversation.
750 left, so it was getting used.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went back through and was like scrolling and scrolling because I was trying to pull more data out, but it definitely is, like I said, it's even getting used kind of trickling in between, which I thought was positive to see. We get.
Is it a digital gift card or
Yes.
digital? So it's through that email?
The smart user prints it, and then she writes on it how much she spent against that $100, so she knows when she goes to Charlie's that she's got $3 left.
That would be an old user, because young people don't like paper.
But they don't
I don't even use paper in my
See?
hands now.
Example.
The problem is they can't track it digitally.
Do we pay a fee for that?
Yeah, the fees are part of the,
What we're covering?
every, transaction.
That's what I thought. Okay. And when that's already up and running, oh, so we were gonna determine an amount, that's what we began the conversation.
Yeah, so I think my motion would be to fund that account with an additional $1,000 to get us to, through the holiday season, which is, I think, we've been refunding, last year, we funded the account with an additional $1,000 in addition to the balance that was there, because it looks like we go through a couple thousand, 2,500 a year.
Now, with that, would it be, last year it was buy one, get one? Did we do it, or was it a?
Yes.
It's the, $25, get the $5
that's right,
bonus.
okay.
So there's really
So
no
doing that
extra
same-
value
yeah.
from 25 to 50, but at 100, you get $25.
Okay.
So you get that 25.
And we want to run with that same program again?
I think that it's,
Yeah.
kind of a natural bonus. It's not too costly for us, but it's beneficial enough to encourage the purchase of a card.
Do buyers know that?
Yeah, so,
Last year, we didn't get to advertise it because the Facebook was down during that time frame. I think we
it
just
goes on
got
the
it back
banner
up.
when you click. So if
Yeah.
we get the link out there, it goes, I only know this because I used to do graphics for it. So there's a banner across the front that says holiday bonus or something, and it lays it all out.
Yeah, so we can advertise that too on the Facebook, get something out there and push that, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you and I can work with that.
Yeah, because I still have those files.
Yeah,
I don't know how, and I have the login, so I can figure out how to upload it.
okay.
But yeah, it would have to go, it would have to be out on Facebook.
You said $25, you get an additional 5, and then for $100, you get an additional 25?
And for 50, you get 10.
And we plan on starting that on Shop Small Saturday.
Yeah, so that would be the
Or do
kickoff.
we want to do it before, do we want to do it on Black Friday? That way they have it in their hands and
Purchase.
ready to purchase
It
on
might
it.
not be a mistake to do it on the day before Thanksgiving, so that when
Yeah.
they're home recovering from their turkey, they can buy them.
Yeah, so we'll do it
On Wednesday.
Black Wednesday.
Black Wednesday.
Does the business have to sign up with Gifty? How does it know that you can only use it at House of Businesses? Can you use it anywhere?
It only
Yes.
goes to people who are in the program.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yes,
So we
you
will
would have to
again-
get us the information to get into the
So you can send
program.
me-
We'd have to provide that to Gifty.
If you send me
We
the
put you
list
on
of
that.
what we got to, like who's participating.
What's that?
If you send me the list of who's participating in it too, we can push that out on the Facebook post.
To make sure that
That,
business owners
buy
have an
this, these are the
opportunity.
places you can use it, you know.
And I think each year we send a note out to all the businesses inviting them to participate.
Yep.
And reminding those who haven't before that they should.
So Charlie will send that note out this year.
Mr. Director, could you put that information on our city website as well?
I can coordinate coordinate, who will be the point of contact then for the EFT information, so we can get that coordinated?
I can be the point of contact. And I will figure out who our customer service rep is there, because we will need their help.
Is the card usable with the Friends of the DDA businesses?
I don't think it's been put out to them yet, but it wouldn't be a impossible thing. It's pretty much, I think, just registering them and doing it, but yeah.
Maybe it's a way to keep them in and bring others in as well.
I don't think there's any reason not to.
I agree. It seems like any place in the 48017, we want the card used.
Does anybody have a list of who is currently enrolled in the Friends of the DDA program? There's only a few, right?
Yeah, you have, I think, 3 more, like DDs.
I think we had $300 in income from that program, which is 3 memberships, correct?
Yeah, that's what I recall.
Let's get more friends.
Okay.
Okay.
So you made that motion about,
Yes, I would make a motion to fund it with an additional $1,000.
I would second that.
All in favor?
aye.
Any opposed? That passes. We'll fund $1,000 for the EFT account. It will be pushed out on Wednesday before Thanksgiving. It will be promoted on the website, Facebook, and city website. Next item on our agenda is board comment, but I feel like we should have something else on the agenda, so I'd like to make a motion that we add an item to discuss the executive director position.
I'll second it.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so, as Joan has decided to leave us quickly, we can see that there's some holes we're gonna have, and it's gonna take a little time to figure things out. There's a few people on this board who pretty much know everything that goes on, and there are many of us who don't have a clue. So, we're gonna need to get to a spot where we're kind of all on the same page. I'd also like to take this opportunity to kind of have a reset and maybe create a workshop where we can all come together, people can share their ideas about what the DDA looks like for them, what kind of things we should prioritize moving forward, and then also just build on the same things that have been going on and going well for all of this time. So is anyone in favor of that? Having a workshop next couple of weeks just to discuss these things?
When you say workshop, you are saying like a board member workshop or a workshop with DDA businesses, participants?
Yeah, I was
larger-
thinking board, but I actually don't have a problem including other people, but I have probably spoken with most of the people at this table. And I think there are some great ideas out there. I think we need to kind of figure out our synergies and who can do what and kind of just do a reset and see what we can do to take the weight off of some people who tend to have to do everything, and then give other people an opportunity to kind of chip in and see where we can go and move forward. I know there's good opportunity here, and I think that's a great place to start. One of the things that has arisen as a result of this, and it was being pushed into small businesses last week, or throughout social media and such, is that, and it was actually mentioned at our city council meeting last night by one of our illustrious members, that there was a coup and that city manager and I have an intent to take over the DDA or to eliminate it altogether, and that there's nothing farther than the truth from that. But what we're looking for, what I personally am looking for, I can't speak for anyone else, it's just a functioning board where people who are involved, people who are part of it, feel like they're part of it and can be involved, and that the people that are the bodies of our DDA, the people who are within it, whom we're supposed to serve, feel represented and also feel like they can be heard or have a voice or feel like they're part of something. Because as you know, as things go on over years, walls are built. I'd like to hope this is a time that those walls that are up can kind of come down a little bit. So looking for fresh ideas. I'm not saying we're going to do anything revolutionary, but I think open, quick comments would be great, as opposed to sitting here and just taking the list that was given before us. I give each one of you credit for running businesses, for being residents with great experience. I think we need to take those things and put them together and build on them, as simply as that. And then talking short term, the conversations, the accusations and the implications of city administration taking over the DDA is nonsense. We all know that we need a DDA director. It's a requirement. And it's also something, not just a requirement, it's something we want. We want a person that is the face of our board, this organization, someone who can represent us at activities and get Clausen's name out there. There's a lot to be done with this, and I don't think anyone has any intent to not allow that to happen. I do think short term, we need to address this, because as we're talking today, there's activities that take place. Part of the frustration people have had is there's not been communication between the board member or director and city services to get things done. And that's something we can address immediately. Mr. Akers has an idea that he has staff members that could help assume the responsibilities on a temporary basis. I mentioned earlier that I had met with Annika from Main Street, along with Nick one day shortly after our last meeting. And in our conversation with her, she was very honest and very open about what she sees of this board. She commended our ability to go out on a limb and kind of shake things up a little bit, because the guidelines from Main Street are pretty clear that you should rotate people. People should not be in the same positions for long periods of time. I think it was a 3 or 4 year period. Nick, do you recall that? That's correct, right?
Yes.
3 or 4 years. Every 3 or 4 years, you should just kind of change faces in your team so that you get those fresh ideas and you can move forward. So looking to do that, she also suggested that it's not advisable to have Joan assist in the replacement of her position, because that stops the progression of new ideas and new ways of doing things. And I know I've spoken with 3 people on this board who were 100% in favor of that at one time. I'm getting the impression that that's not the case any longer. I'd also like full disclosure that after our last meeting, I was approached by a member of this board who requested that I step down from this position as the chairperson of this committee. And I will tell you what I told him, which was I was elected to this position by my peers, and that I'm going to take it on. Not that I need another thing to do, but I'm going to take it on. I'm not going to shirk from the responsibility, and I'm not going to concede it back to anybody. I felt duly elected, and I think together as a team we can do great things here, and I'm looking forward to that, but we're going to need cooperation from everybody. We're going to need kind of like a stopping of the old and a starting of the new, and I think we can do it, and I think it's going to be great. So let's talk about, does anyone have any ideas what they'd like to do for the immediate short term, and looking at how we put a face for our executive director? Does anyone have any ideas?
First, I would like to hear more ideas on using a staff member that can assume the immediate responsibilities. That seems like, I just don't know what that means.
Okay, Mr. Raker, first of all, let me say, I was at South Oakland County Mayor's Association meeting. I've gone to a couple of them since all this stuff started trickling in. Spoken to a lot of cities that have shared roles. This is not unheard of to have a staff member on your city administration.
There's 2 cities, right?
Pardon me?
There are 2 cities where the mayor serves as the director, correct? Warren and someplace else.
Oh, that wasn't even what I was talking about, but thank you for giving me credibility for that, because you're right, because someone made accusations that's never done. It is done. Warren, Flint, and Detroit are the largest communities in our area that have their mayor serve as the DDA director. I would say those communities are pretty substantial. If they can do it, they have large things to do, it shouldn't be an issue outside of that. But there are other communities throughout the state of Michigan as well that have similar. I just didn't bring the list for those ones. I kind of stopped and got to the majors, but there were a couple small communities as well. So it's not what we did. It's not unheard of. It's not something that can't be done. But Mr. Raker had some thoughts about his staff, about people who could help take on the role of this. And the whole idea of it is not to just have a staff member do part of this. That staff member would be the face of the DDA. They would be our executive director, part-time executive director, part-time whatever. But I'll let you speak to that.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So a couple months ago, a couple meetings ago, that we saw a lot of the department heads were here present, because there has been an existing frustration with the lack of the 3 C's, as I like to call them: communication, coordination, cooperation. And so our staff is eager to impose that on all points for the DDA. You're not gonna have just a singular person, you're going to have a staff of people who want to move the entire DDA forward. Internally, we'll have some discussions, and if there is a need by some doctor or whatnot, that you have to have a singular person, or if that's the board's preference, we can come back with a specific name if that's necessary. But I mean, in the meantime, right now, whether it's a financial issue, if it's a DPW issue, if it's public safety issue, community development issue, whatever it is, you'll have our attention. And a lot of your points of contact came to the administration over time anyway, so.
Right, I think, I mean, that is how it should work all the time. We should be working with DPW, we should be working with public safety. That doesn't sound different.
But it wasn't
Paula
happening.
had just said one person to be the face. I mean,
I'm
that's
saying on an
directly
interim basis.
contradictory to what she said. What?
I'm saying on an interim basis, if that's
Right,
what you.
right, that everybody can pitch in.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
which was much appreciated.
When we're talking about temporary, how long are we talking about temporary?
We
We're talking
absolutely
about
have to have a deadline for hires.
Yeah, I'd like to see a date, by this date, we have somebody. So how long are we talking about an interim?
Right, that's a conversation for this body. I think, if you do an employment search, if you're looking for a good body, you gotta factor 3 months to do an employment search to get a good candidate for any position. This position, depending on what our conversations become on how we want this position to look moving forward, do we continue to employ someone at 20 hours a week? It's gonna limit us greatly. I'm good quality people to get someone to want to do this kind of job for 20 hours a week. What do we want our DDA chair, or our DDA director, what do we want that position to look like moving forward? We have the ability to address that. Do we want a 30-hour person week, which maybe that's a good number. I'm thinking that might not be a bad number. It's not 40 hours, we're not paying 40 hours, but at 30 hours, you could also offer benefits.
30 hours counts as full-time.
That's what I'm saying, you could offer
So-
benefits.
That's reasonable, and I would like to point out that the 20 hours was only what we paid for.
Clearly,
Right.
clearly.
I think we definitely had an anomaly here for many years.
Yeah,
and-
clearly.
Yeah.
And we've all acknowledged that, right?
Yes,
Like,
absolutely.
And that was, Joan was hired as Bob Donahue came up with a flexible, full-time something, so that
Because the Main Street
Main
requires
Street helped us
full-time.
figure out how to pay her part-time for a
If
full-time.
30 kind of is that qualifies for, yeah, there might be a sweet spot in there. But I think from what I heard from Paula, I think there's two big things here. This is how I can see it in my head. Like the immediate short term, we need to create a committee, we need to set that, formalize we have 3 months that we need to get somebody, lined up for this seat and make, put all of our energy towards moving forward in that goal. And then maybe simultaneously, I would support this idea of a reset or a relaunching, but even rethinking what we do.
Which is
We're
normal
at
when you
that-
lose a key person.
Exactly, we're at that inflection point. I think it would be interesting, although I know that sometimes participation is limited because business owners are very busy, to have a workshop that brings in business owners. And so we have new business owners that, have been introduced and all the things the director normally does. But it would be nice to have everybody at a table for a morning or an evening workshop to say, hey, what do you want to see? What else do you know about, we have a facade grant program, we have, business help programs, we have all these things that we offer. Did you know that? What else would you like to see? What do you need? We have the ability to offer training programs.
I don't know, I think that that's a fabulous thing to do for the other businesses. I don't know that you want people on the committee for hiring who aren't.
No, I guess I'm saying there's two big
Okay,
things
I'm
that I was
sorry.
pulling out of what Paula had kind of talked around. And that's more of like a future visioning, which we could run simultaneously, but knowing that our primary focus as a board for this 3 months is to set a committee, figure out that hiring, set the job, we've got several subtasks under this goal. And also we could start setting up a workshop, and that visioning, we call that visioning process.
Annika has provided a lot of background on pay rates and that kind of stuff, and she's a wonderful asset to this. It's generally run by the executive board, which would be the four of you, to get the whole process going. Not that I suggest other people shouldn't have a say, I'm just saying that's the traditional way of doing it.
I'm all for breaking tradition here. I would love to see the entire board have a part of this in some way or another. When it comes down to interviewing candidates, maybe, or like, I mean, I hire people for a living. I've also done way too many city manager searches, I'd like to admit to. The processes are whatever you make them be. But I think input is critical. Developing this job is going to take a little bit of time. So when we're talking short term, I don't see 3 months as the short term. I see 3 months. Say we're getting into the Christmas season. It's going to be busy for everybody. I'd say it's going to take us 3 months before we're up and running with a great idea of how we want to move forward. And then I see 3 months as finding someone to fit that seat. That's what I see, just from making sure that we do this right. We just don't go out and grab someone, put them in here, and then we didn't really resolve anything. We just put a body in a seat. Like we have the opportunity to do more than that. Let's do more than that. And I'm not saying my timeline it has to be hard and fast. I'm not saying it's necessarily correct, but I think it's realistic. I 100% think it's realistic. I think if Mr. Rager, if you could come back with us and let us know who you have on staff that you think might be good to serve as our we want to name someone as our interim director that's on staff, like if we agree to do that, I should say. Then I want it to be one person. I understand we have full support of the administration, but we need one person that is going to be responsible to us, because ultimately that person is responsible to the board. They're also going to be a city employee, right? So they'll basically be wearing dual hats and have dual responsibilities. So I don't want this board to feel like in any way we're giving up our person. We can't give up our person. It's a requirement that we have
this
one.
board be paying that person?
We would not, we couldn't expect them to assume the responsibility of payment. Like that wouldn't be fair. It wouldn't be fair.
I'm not suggesting that, I'm just asking.
No, I mean, I wouldn't think it's right. Yes.
So the comment I have is one person or three, whatever, I just want to make sure we get 20 hours.
Oh.
If someone's working full-time, they're working 40 hours. Is this person going to go to 60 hours? Or is this person going to lose 20 hours of their daily work? It's going to be assigned by the city manager to someone else and can work for us for 20 hours. We just don't need someone to put out notices and open the door and things like that. We need more than that. That's what I want to make sure we get in the interim.
The other thing I have a question is, the person that you would recommend to the DDA, do we get to interview this temporary person as well?
Yeah, I mean, we're defining this,
Okay.
so absolutely, if that's what you want, absolutely. I think that's fair. I don't think just picking someone up from a job and saying, hey, you're going to do this for 20 hours. And most importantly, we need to know what they're going to do. I don't know what Joan did with 20 or 40 or 60 hours a week. I have no idea, unless I saw her go to bed. I don't know what she did.
Do we have a job description for the position?
We have a job description, but I don't think we have qualifications like what they would.
Right, but the job description would actually help as members, regardless,
Yeah.
short-term and long-term.
Yeah, I think we
That was
have on
disseminated.
file an
On
original
a-
job description, and then we have started to gather through email from Annika, our point of contact. Because we're part of this larger network, so we have a lot of, benefits through the county and through the national program. So she's shared recent job descriptions from other cities, but we would need to come together and build, what we need for our organization, for our future.
If we recall, prior to that, to our election, Joan actually wrote up and she sent out to everybody job descriptions for every single position in there. So, and she did include that as well. So there, like I said, the qualification or the description's there. It's just the qualifications that we want to look for. We don't have any.
And if we want to change that, looking
Absolutely.
ahead, I guess is my
Absolutely.
point.
Absolutely.
Joan was working on planning for this.
Yes,
To
she was.
find, well, actually, when we talked about it, it wasn't that she was going to be participating in the search, but getting ready for the search and having all the things in place so that when the next person came, they knew what she did.
Right, I don't think anybody responds to that, but I agree with that. I don't think that I would want Joan part of finding her replacement, but being part of the transition out of her role, like we talked about previously.
So-
Like you leave your own,
So with this kind of thought process going, I think just to kind of move this forward, setting a timeline on kind of how we want to see this. So I think by the next meeting, do we want to do a special meeting to meet whoever our one person would be that's an interim before the next meeting.
Is there anybody on this board who would like to be an interim director? Is that a possibility?
I don't think so. I don't know, that seems like a conflict to me. I don't know why. I don't know why I say that, but it seems like it would be a conflict to me.
It'd be self-serving
Because we'd be
because they're
paying someone
compensated
that's on the
employee.
board for a paid position when they're a board member.
So,
That doesn't seem right to me.
looking at this, again, just, so before our next meeting, at least having maybe a special meeting that we can sit down and meet candidates that the city wants to appoint for the interim.
Except
So
that's
we-
ahead of them. We can't do that until we define, until we know what has to be done.
Well, so
What our
I'm just trying to-
expectations are, because otherwise we're interviewing someone for something we're not sure what we're interviewing for.
Well, this is,
With
again,
a
just the
temporary one.
interim. This is
Yeah,
just
but
interim.
you still have to have an idea of what that person's going to do. We're not looking for a seat filler, we're looking for someone to take on tasks. We're looking for someone to take on
So
responsibility.
then do you want to have the
initiative.
community gathering before that then, where we bring in the business owners and people and get some ideas of this?
Well,
That's-
I mean, I've
We've
been
got like
asking
5
to
ideas
do
out
that
here right
forever.
now.
I would love to do that. I've always wanted to do that. I'm glad that it's on the table today. It's something to discuss. I don't know that that is, it can be done before we
I
get
think
to all
that should
of
be
the
done
other.
in January.
Yeah, exactly.
After.
So that's again what I'm trying to get
That's
at.
like
So then if we
visioning
do say
later.
something
Yeah.
early in January, that we do a meeting with the community to come and go, and what do you want to see in a DDA director? We still run into, then we're running 2 months without anybody
I don't
in
even
that
think
position.
that has to be tied to the director position.
Okay.
I think we set what we need in a director, and that's tied to,
Okay.
you know, what we're gonna ask the director to do, you know, like more
They're two
day-to-day.
totally separate projects.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I see those
I
as.
think that
as
there should
separate.
be some committee for hiring. It doesn't have to be the executive committee, but there should be a group of people that develop the job description, that, you know, that run the hiring process, and, you know, because we don't want, I don't know that it makes sense to have 15 people interview.
Well, yeah, I wasn't even applying that. I talk about the prep to get to that point. I just think it's important that everyone has to say till we get to that point, and then we break it down however we want to break it down.
Can we meet, or can we set a committee and have that committee meet twice before the next board meeting and bring all that information back to
Come
the
with
board?
a job description and come
And
with
get input.
a process of hiring.
That way we have the forum to have the full discussion, you know, make any tweaks before it goes out to be posted in December, after the December meeting.
I'm just gonna say I'm cautious on that personally, because all I've seen in 3 years on this board is committee. Committees are extremely small, extremely closed, and I don't know what's going on. And then all of a sudden, we make a decision on something we don't really have a choice on. I really think that it's important that everyone has some skin in this game, especially in the beginning.
So you want all of us to meet?
To develop the
To
job
have a
description.
special
to-
We have a job
in between?
description. Okay, so, all right, we have a job description. We're going to tweak it. We're going to all meet. Everyone's going to give their ideas on what they think that job description should include, what we think this person should, what their priorities are for this position. We also need to determine, again, what this position actually entails as far as day-to-day responsibilities. We're paying for hours. What are we doing? What do they do with those hours? Like, what are they formulating? Like, who are they out meeting? Like, do we put a mandate on there that you meet 3 businesses a week, and then you give us a little report on you're meeting 3 businesses a week, right? Something so that we know that this person is active in the community, not just in preparing these things for us and the reports for Main Street and the things that are required, which is something else we have to talk about, because there are some requirements with this position that I don't know who knows about them. And Annika was really clear with us that she would come back in at any time and talk to this board about all of these things if we would like her to. I'm not trying to make this hard, and I'm not trying to get so many hands in the game that we don't get anything done. But in talking to people, I really just feel it's really important for people to be able to have a voice throughout this process.
So what do you see as our next step then with that statement?
One second. Do you have?
Yes, I think maybe your next step would be simply saying that to charge the administration with the directorship of the DDA until you guys act in your next step.
But how could we charge the administration with the directorship if they have not come up with a plan for what the temporary person is going to do?
It doesn't have to, I just need to be empowered to act on behalf of the DDA. I don't have that. I mean, I mean, I kind of do right now, but I mean, hand it off for the time being and say, hey, so you come back and say, Mr. Raker, you're responsible for this now. Or the administration is responsible. However you want. If you don't want my name on it, it doesn't really bother me, but I will have employees that will be taking on additional responsibilities, and, I mean, they're not free chicken. They should be compensated in the interim.
Mr. Barucci, you look like you're thinking,
I am.
and you have experience with this, so that's why I'm looking at you right now.
With something that Mr. Raker just said in terms of compensation, I think you're probably going over and above what you're currently getting.
I would agree, yes, but
That's where you're going, obviously. So at that point in time, they're working more than their commitment right now to the city.
well, no, they're eager to do this work because of the frustrations of the past. All right, so like, that's first and foremost. But as we move forward, they're going to be executing work on behalf of the DDA. They're saying, hey, why don't I get some compensation on that?
A stipend.
Yeah, I have a contract, so I'm not getting anything, I'm not asking for anything. But I will have staff that will be acting in the capacity, and they should, in a rate, being compensated.
I think we'd be better off served with one person versus, well, for this, you go to you, and for something else, you go to him. And then for the third thing, you go to, we haven't determined yet.
Right. Can you give me an example of what you already kind of know city staff will be stepping into? Because
I
I'm
mean,
not
all the
following.
department heads that are, I mean, mostly DPW, largely recreation, I can see at some point being helpful, possibly as this potentially develops.
I mean, I guess you said, like, you've got city staff ready to go, like, give me a task,
To
like,
do
what are they
the
ready to do,
job.
what? Which
When
part?
it came to what was it, Charlie,
The trash.
not the trash, the restaurant promotion. You had a
Dine
meeting.
closet.
Oh, the dine closet, yeah.
Dining closet, so like, right away, like Brandon, who is our communications specialist, streamlining and putting your information in tandem with with the city's website so that everything is synchronized. I think there's been a lack of that coordination and communication, and that's been a source of my frustration in the departments.
I think that frustration has been felt on both sides of this particular divide.
So in the end.
So if Joan were here, were we using Brandon for that prior at all? But you're saying that you're willing to do that, but if we hire a new director, is that still the case, or?
No, because that's the
I guess
growing pain here, is I'm offering up an opportunity where I think, I mean, you have a downtown development component, and you have a community and economic development component. They both have development in them.
Right.
It makes some sense to have some, bringing them under one umbrella as much as we can, and we have that responsibility. If we have a by name, by director, hey, this is our person, go to, they have responsibilities. Whether if it's whoever it is, if it's me or if it's somebody else, and there's a lot of discussion internally as to who would want to do this, I think you will have just greater scales of economy to the benefit of the DDA, because you'll have a greater, buy-in and not a divide amongst, well, that's the DDA, or, where you had in the past is things would happen and department heads weren't informed about it, and over time that created a huge divide. And where, if we're all at the table and everyone has a stake in the game as far as the success of the downtown, everyone's going to be the three C's: communicate, coordinate, collaborate.
And I don't disagree with you on that. I see that, and I see like this, just over the last couple years, like post-COVID, everything got kind of, and we've had major changeover in all department heads, and so yeah, things have sort of fractured. So I'm not trying to argue that at all, but I want to kind of look ahead. So if we hire a director we're not going to, but if we had a new director tomorrow, like, how does that, can we still work with that city marketing, or now we have, we pay the city back for DPW services specifically. I don't think we do for marketing. Does that then need to be a negotiated?
Yeah, we'll have to refine that better.
Right, yeah, so that's there, and,
I'm saying
but the immediate
immediate
term, like, we don't, marketing just as the one example, like, we don't have immediate needs for the marketing of events. Our next event isn't until May, correct?
Yeah.
You know, so we
Fortunately,
don't
it's
need
the quiet
to
time of
jump
year for
in.
us.
What's that?
Fortunately, it's the quiet time of year for many of the things that DDA does.
Right,
If
right, and it's
folk-
busy for all of our business owners, so this lull is sort of a natural fit. We already pay for DPW services, so I'm not seeing where we need DPW to jump in to cover her role. But I could be missing it because I obviously don't do her role, so I don't know.
Who takes care of our social media and stuff like that?
It's me and Joe.
It's your job. So that's something that Brandon would.
That's, I think, a huge component that's missing from the DDA, and I think if anyone's following how Brandon has made a very positive impact since he's been here.
Oh, yeah, the
He's-
information
you can see that.
campaign for the bot, like, it's impressive,
Yeah,
and so
you
I
can
don't,
see
I don't
that.
wanna downplay that or the need to collaborate
No, but-
on it. But the need for it to be, you know, November, December, January, immediate, we need to transfer power to the city in order to gain that, I think is maybe limited.
We're not
It's not
transferring
well,
power.
it's
I
just
think that it's-
responsibility
yeah,
is what it
I think
is.
that's really unfair, right? Because remember, if we enter into an engagement with them and say one of, you know, the administration is assisting us, they're still responsible to this board.
Oh, no,
Right,
no,
like,
I
we're still
understand,
defining
I guess
it,
I was just using your words, that,
Yeah,
like,
sorry.
that we would need to do something like that now so that you are able to step in. I agreed with kind of what we're talking
Yeah.
about,
Yeah.
if you have a proposal of a person, then I think we should review it, and, yeah, I'm not
I
trying
don't have
to.
a person per se, I have a service, I have a team of people.
I understand where you're coming from, because
Yeah.
like you said, you have Brandon for the
Yeah.
social media, but then you have somebody else that actually works with the DPW, and then you have another person that would actually work with that. Because you can't have Brandon do the DPW,
Right,
it's
right,
public
right,
safety,
right.
public safety.
I
So-
can
We
come up
pay
with
for
a name for
DPW
it.
services.
Correct, yeah, I'm just using,
Right.
I'm using generalities for
Yeah.
the services that he's talking about, we need multiple, where he's looking at multiple people to fill that position. Joan she did the position of like 20 people. So that's what Joe's, I think, is saying, that he's got, like, I got 5 people that would equal 1 Joan. So I think that's,
I'm
where I'm
not saying
perceiving
that,
it.
but I'm saying along those lines.
Yeah,
yes,
that's what I'm perceiving, okay,
yes.
okay, that's my
Yes, I
perception.
mean, I have a team of people that are ready to cover down, and here's the thing, is that gives us time collectively to refine this vision.
Yeah, okay.
I think just in general, and I think where kind of our discomfort is just the, having it to that spot of who do I go to, right? Like, so the situation we ran into earlier with the planners, right?
Yeah.
Probably a DPW thing, but it's a thing that I had to handle last year because no one did, right?
Charlie, to your point, if I can
Yeah.
interject, one of my frustrations as a city manager here is to have you guys as business owners sit around here and talk about the things that are first world problems that you shouldn't even have to go
Yeah.
out and thinking about. Parking, trash, planners. You sit around talking about planners as business owners, and I'm like,
Yeah.
seriously, let me take this off your plate. Let us do the job and we'll knock it out.
So on that point, just having one person that we're able to talk to, like, I get that you're gonna spread it through the city, but
Sure.
having one person that can be like,
Well,
and I don't want to put more on like Nick's plate, because
No,
Nick's in
not
that situation where he's at,
Right. But I need to have that conversation internally to see who's interested and how we
Yeah.
can manage this.
So I think it's something of, like, getting us a couple of names that are like, these are the people that we'd like to be the point person running this. I think that would be an acceptable,
As this gets further refined
Yeah.
and you have these relationships,
yeah.
the department heads are, we have a good rapport where like, all right, you've had interactions with individual department heads, and I would foster that because they know they'll be empowered, like, hey, we don't have an intermediary, we have the ability to act on behalf of the well-being and interests of the DDA as a responsible department head that's responsible for whatever it may be impacting the DDA, not have to, that's what the goal is, the vision is, to streamline.
Overall, and I'm just trying to save myself time in the sense of like having to call 3 people, go.
100%.
Hey, I called
100%.
DPW,
No,
they obviously don't handle this, I gotta call this
streamlining
other person, they handle it. I'd
We're
rather just to
streamlining
go,
this.
hey, can you help me out with this,
We're streamlining it.
you know?
Joe, I think that a seamless and friendly interaction with the city and the DDA is certainly highest on everyone's list here. Wherever the problems have been, we all acknowledge that they have been there and it's time to move forward from them. My one concern is that if somebody calls with a DDA question, somebody comes to the city and comes and says, who do I talk to about coming to work here? We need her to open a business here. Joan has been so instrumental in that. We need to have one person who is the face of the DDA who can answer these
Internally, we'll develop that.
questions. But But you're right, there's no reason for us to get down to who's moving the planters and all that kind of stuff. If we could smooth that out, that would be
I'll take that.
idyllic.
I would take that.
Uh-huh.
I can offer you that seamless support from the departments at large. Give us the time to develop this. I think you'll be more than happy with the outcomes.
So back to the search, though.
Yeah.
We still have,
So,
need
yeah,
to
like I
make
said,
some
we
immediate
have
plans for.
we have the role descriptions, we just have to come up with the qualifications of what we're actually looking for. So like you were saying,
And
we
work
should
out the
assemble.
budget.
Maybe that when you want to do the collective, where everyone sits down and talks about what we see in the future, maybe prior to that, opening it up to the community, maybe whoever wants to be involved, we can all meet and
No.
discuss that before. No, that's okay.
Well, I would suggest that that certainly the community input is important,
Well, I'm saying
although the
before that,
times.
I don't want the community,
Thank you.
just us. No. Those of us that can meet before we meet with the community, on the same day, so if we see that Christmas.
And you know, we have had events where we invited the community to come in and talk about the DDA and to give us their input and all the rest of it. They have been traditionally very poorly attended. So I don't want anybody to think that all of a sudden everybody's going to show up to one of these meetings and talk about it.
Well, it's just providing opportunity, and we understand they're business owners, right? And most of our small business owners are not just business owners, they're working those businesses. They don't have the staff to like leave for an hour and a half and come back, right? If they do that, then there's a glitch in what they need to be doing to make money. So we understand that, but maybe we provide a couple different opportunities. Maybe we do a morning one and an evening one. If we get 4 people, we get 4 people that we have not talked to. And I would find that a win. If we get more than that, that would be even better. And maybe we do a ground game too, and go out and talk to people a little bit and let them know what's going on. I would love to be able to combat the negativity that's been spread by our own people and say, look, yeah, it's sad on some levels because something's ending, but let's take something. Let's take this and move forward. We can do this. We have some phenomenal people sitting around this table who have great energy, will have great ideas, and given the right opportunity, can do things that haven't been done in the past, not because any reason other than we're just doing a reset. We're just looking forward a little bit. We're just, trying something a little bit different. And if I am wrong and we fail at everything and you guys want to resort back to the old, go for it. But come on, let's not sell ourselves short. This community deserves it. You guys are here not to kill an hour plus on a Wednesday morning, once a month. You're here because you have businesses, you're committed in this community, and you want to see it do better. Let's do it, you guys.
So,
Let's do it.
Val, are we able to put together basically like what the hiring packet would look like what job descriptions we have from Hanukkah, all the other information that we've got? Because I've gotten a lot of emails randomly, I think between you and I don't know if you got some stuff from Mark, put all of that together, send it out to the whole board so we have a clear vision of like, here's the job description, compensation. I know that's still up in the air a little bit, but
The
like
information from Annika, just pull the.
everything together, and then we can go through, try to do those meetings that way everybody has a full encompassing, here's all of the information that we were given,
So a draft that we can.
Because right now, like, I think I have at least 4 emails that have different things about job descriptions and what we do and what we're going, so just to streamline it so that if we're gonna bring on the whole board to have a logical discussion about what we're doing, how we're moving forward, everybody has all the same information.
Yeah, but I'd like to not be tethered to that. I would really love to have the
Well, I
idea
think
of
it's
discussion.
a guide, it's information that's, like, Oakland or Main Street has put out, all of that. It's a guide of like, here we go, and we can keep stuff out if we want. Like, we want to go through and just talk about like, okay, this is what we don't want to put out information-wise because we haven't decided that yet. But at least we know, here's what we're looking for. This is how we can do this. Because right now we're just kind of going with all these ideas of, let's have a meeting.
Well, you have to start with ideas, and then you need dialogue, and then you move. And I think we need to have an idea, and I think we need to have, I'm not for meetings, I hate meetings, but we need to have a meeting to have conversations about what people want this DDA to be. We can't put a person in a seat if you don't know what you want them to do.
But I'm saying,
The
it's like
characteristics will change.
Yeah, so
The
with the
characteristics of
mainstream
whom you're looking
information.
for will change based on what you want to do.
So what are we suggesting as far as a meeting to discuss?
To discuss goals, I don't.
Like, are we talking about next board meeting, or
I
we're
think we
setting up
should do
something
it before,
Yeah,
if we can,
agreed.
people have time to do it before, I think we should do it before, because we're just gonna kick the can down the road a little bit. But I think a good meeting, I've had several conversations with many of you, and you guys have ideas, you guys are like I didn't have a problem with what was going on before, but I'd really like to, like, why haven't we? Let's have those why haven't we, why can't we, why don't we try this? Let's add that to the table, and then take that information and put it into how we want this next director to look, like, so we can build from there. Nothing wrong with having the job descriptions and stuff, but I hate for people to get tethered to something that exists, and just because Main Street has one, and because Berkeley had one, and Holly, and all these other places have them, doesn't mean that's what we have to do, and I don't want anyone to get locked into those things right off the bat. I don't think it tends to stifle creativity, and I would hate to see that happen, because we're at a starting point. It would be great to just start fresh. But that's my opinion. If you guys don't want to do it that way, if you want to do it a different way,
I think what we need to do is, since we're going to stay with our accreditation with the ministry, we have to at least use that listing of what they want us to do, and then we can build on that.
yeah, no, we have to take some of it is in there, 100%, right? I'm not saying throw it all out and
Right.
start
And that's what I'm
new
saying, with
description.
this stuff that we have, the information in Main Street, this is what we have to do to have it right there.
So I understand, we're trying to, we need a job description, let's say for Main Street.
Yep.
And each one of us has that, and then we critique it from there, what we think.
We
Should be
add to
done.
that,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
we can't take away what
You can't take
what
that,
they
right.
want, but we can add to that what we
Right.
want.
Yeah, we can make it our own. I think that's what Paul is.
I think we need a head of this project, somebody who's going to kind of run it, and I would suggest that perhaps we try to draft Mr. Marucci, who has, sorry, Joe. Because Joe has been city manager, he's been DDA director, and he has, for a man so young, so many years of experience.
I think you can't be young and have many years of experience.
You don't interview the same people I do.
So I guess, let's move on. I just looked over to Mr. Raker and said, if you got direction how we're going to proceed in the short run, he looked at me and shook his head no, and I've got to say, I shook my head to the side too. It's great that we're talking 6 months from now on job description, but how are we going to handle it tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't talked about that. I mean, we talked, but when we move quickly, like 6 months from now on job descriptions in Main Street, who's going to run the show effective tomorrow or next week? Or do we need to come back next week when he gives us a written proposal and says, this guy or gal is going to do this job for you for the next period of time?
I'm not gonna do that. I'm offering the city services.
That's what we need to know.
Let's go,
Yeah.
let's go already. You guys are trying to micromanage.
Yeah, we
and
need,
I'm not gonna let it happen.
and we haven't decided that yet. The bill, it's getting close to 9:30, and I gotta go to my real job. And many of you have real jobs too, more than I do, to serve people. But he needs direction. We're either gonna say, we don't wanna go with him, or we're gonna go with him. But otherwise, we're going to 6 months from now, and I'm concerned about tomorrow.
Do we possibly want to meet again in a week and see what Joe is proposing and get an idea of what that would look like?
I just told you what the proposal was. I'll step in for you. We'll have internal conversations and see if there's some, but I mean, for you guys to say, hey, well, we're going to have like some authority over this person. I mean, I think it has to be further refined, but I think in the interim, and whenever you guys want to have another meeting, whether it's a week from now or a month from now, I can come back with a further refinement. But I mean, at the end of the day, I might go to an empty well. I mean, where it sounds like, you know what, after watching that meeting, I don't think we want to do this.
I think we need further refinement, just what are we going to pay this person or persons or this position? And so it's something that basic, and I think we should do it really as quickly as possible. Is a week enough time for you to come up with something and write it for us?
No, not a week. I mean,
And next week's Thanksgiving, so
Yeah.
that's a wasted week for most people.
Like if we set a meeting on the 4th, which is 2 weeks, like an interim workshop, we could, get a proposal from Joe, we could review, we still have to sit and review resumes. I still think that's a critical immediate need. Or not resumes, I'm sorry.
I was going to say.
Job descriptions.
Yeah.
That's jumping ahead, I did not mean it.
Are we going to have time in December to do it?
I think realistically, I mean, everyone knows the holidays are busy. Things come up, opportunities arise, and I don't think you guys have many holiday experiences, and I don't think this is going to go as expeditious as
No,
we
I
anticipate.
agree that we need to find someone for tomorrow, because tomorrow night, we're gonna hit the freezing point. Planners are not gonna be emptied out. He's offering to have someone go there today or tomorrow to get that.
I'll still do it, but
I think that's two
this is-
different things.
It's
Well,
not
I
two
mean,
different things.
it is and it isn't. I mean,
It's like, am I in or am I out? I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, is the administration in or are we out? I mean, we're in, but it's, you guys have to have some buy-in, I think, as well. On an interim basis. I mean, if I'm not gonna turn around and be like, Charlie, you know what? Go ahead and keep emptying the pots. And you know what? Keep doing the social media. How ridiculous is that? I wanna end that nonsense.
so I agree.
Right.
I agree with.
But that's still a
So I
wholesale
just wanna
change from
start.
how we're, like, Charlie is currently doing social media, and it's really the phone call to DPW to ask about the pots that is the director role that we're missing. It's not the going and emptying, or it is, you know, kind of the normal role is to go into empty pots, so I still think we're making a jump to.
I think what Joe's saying is, he's offering the services to take care of this, so we can get past
To
this.
coordinate it though,
Yeah.
so like, but who on his team is gonna be like, oh, we now need
You
to
can
think
call
about.
me. You can call me if that makes it easy for you. It doesn't matter. I mean, I'll provide you a name after we have conversations internally. It's not a showstopper.
Well, the thing is, like, what I see, I mean, I know I haven't been here as long as everybody else, but what I see is like, when Joe asks somebody from a department to do it, they do it like right away, expeditiously. So, whereas if somebody else, whether it's us, anybody here, or the chamber, if we ask the DPW directly, it may take a little bit.
Or ask
No.
Joe, I mean, our
So that's what I'm
director
saying.
should be working.
Yeah, so
In
if,
concert with Joe, for
for
sure.
the meantime, if I'm okay with Joe, myself, I'm okay with Joe taking this, because if Joe makes the phone call tomorrow, it's done tomorrow. You know, if we have someone that's from DPW, just from the DDA that's been here for a little bit, I've noticed that if we call, and we say something to the DPW, it's not done right now. So I am in favor of having Joe do this because he'll get it done like right now, whenever he asks. If he asks public safety to do this right now, they do it right now. If they ask, that's what I've witnessed in the past years that I've been here. So I just want to put on record that
I think with all
I'm
the
okay with it right
mechanical
now.
stuff and all those
Yeah.
things, it would be fabulous.
Yeah, yeah.
I think
I
that
so
the
too,
board would
but I
be
think
happy to
that's
pay
what-
whatever we needed to pay to the city for
Yeah.
performing any things that are above and beyond. The question is the economic development face of the DDA and the social media and that kind of stuff. Do we want to turn that over temporarily to the city? To me, that is the bigger
Social media,
question.
running the YIFT program, things that we've talked about that we have going.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, do you guys, Charlie, do you want to, here's the thing, pardon me, if you want to keep running the EFT, if you want to keep doing the social media, I
With the
made an
social
assumption,
media,
I made an assumption that. you
I'm
may
at
not
all the
want to.
events, you know, like every event that we do, I have been at. I like to be on the social media so I can like, you know, live stream, do whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Rob was great at the Halloween one where he took photos and gave me a whole thing. We were able to post up photos of everything that happened during the pub crawl, which was
Yeah.
really great, a lot of good feedback on that. And
And I'm not trying to stymie anyone's creativity, I'm trying to like foster it,
Yeah.
perpetuate
If
it.
there's coordination with
Yes.
Brandon, it can
Yes.
be bigger.
Yeah.
It would not be limited to that.
Yeah, I mean-
So that would be good.
Brandon's got a few more resources than we do with his camera work and with his creativity that he can add instead of taking away. And
Absolutely.
that's what I'm gathering is that you want to add and not take anything away.
Absolutely.
So.
So
I
Charlie
hear
could
that,
be
there's a
involved.
gap. I'm
Absolutely,
still-
100%, if he wants to be.
Yeah.
Like, so do we just want Brandon to take off and like start creating content for, that's the
He
gap
can't
that
do
I'm
it on his
talking
own.
about.
He has to have direction
No, I
from the
get
body.
that,
Yeah.
that's the gap, that's
Yeah.
the.
I mean, and
So
social
what are
media
we
is really
saying
like the
today?
hub.
We want them
Yeah.
to just, we still are directing them, so that's the director role. We're like, you know what I mean? Like, if we want them to do some like technical things on YIFT, it's different than saying, oh, we want to run a YIFT program, go launch a YIFT program.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm seeing the gap in like, well, I don't understand what we're then pushing over is the coordinating that the director would be doing. So if we have a new director tomorrow, she's going to coordinate YIFT things. What?
Orgy. Let's be fair.
I'm still picturing
But
Joan.
you have to
She's
have
still,
that, you have to have that conversation, right? You are the point of contact, knowledge base for EFD, and you'd be like, hey, new person, this is what I do, how do you wanna like collaborate and make this move forward? You'd have the same conversation
So,
about that,
so
right?
today, until next month, like,
Whoever.
we're meeting today, and then we'll meet again next month, and you're saying you need permission to move on our behalf from now till next month.
I'm saying.
So what I'm
I
saying
wanna
is there's
buy
a
it.
gap in, right, you want, like, and we all are buying into, we want the city's help, and we wanna coordinate, and we wanna move forward and have, you know, collaboration on social media, But if we all say today, yes, we buy in, we're buying in, we want your help, we want you to step in on our behalf, and we will pay you to do that. I don't understand from November, whatever today is, 19th, 20th, what's the date?
20th.
Sorry, November 20th, what your team will be doing on our behalf from November 20th until December 18th at the next board meeting. That's the gap. That's the only thing that I'm questioning, is if I say yes today, what's going to happen? What is being done on our behalf that we haven't coordinated or dictated or anything?
We'll be
With the
figuring
city,
that
How
out.
much will it cost us?
Right, and then how will you figure it out? Like,
We
we're
asked
not
the
going to
questions.
meet until December 18th.
What would your director have been doing, right? Like, so it's the same thing. We pay employees to put in time. Sometimes they accomplish things, sometimes they don't. Like, if you're saying there's nothing, I mean, it sounds like you're saying there may be nothing for you to do in this next month, because we're
Oh,
not
there
going to
may
give
be,
you
but we
anything
won't.
to do. So what are we paying for? But we're paying a person, how do we know what they do? You know what I mean? It's the same thing. So we have an assigned
Except that they have a job
responsibility.
description and like a history of the things that we have paid them to do. I guess that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, if we hand off responsibility, but we're not handing off a job description and,
So are you
like the social
concerned-
media example is the example. Like, yes, that sounds great, I would love that. But, you know, there's no history or for a new social media person to jump in and do anything with social media over the next month.
Well, we have to give them a direction, or perhaps we have someone who's innovative and will go to the DDA members and find something innovative that they can share and create their own content, create their own buzz about flossing, which that would be amazing too.
For sure.
Is your concern, like, do they have nothing to do, or is your concern we're gonna pay for something and get nothing out of it? Because if that's the case, then we could do an hourly bill type situation where they keep track of their hours, we bill them for that, so you don't feel like we're paying for something that we're not getting. I'm not sure what the concern is, 100%.
Yeah, so we have asked, like, oh, if he gave us a proposal or put a person on it, then we would know what we're saying yes to. This feels like a yes to
It's
an
nebulous.
unknown.
I think all of this seems
Yeah,
unknown
we
to
are.
all of us today, except for people who know what was taking place before. And as we were not given anything to say, this is what I do on Monday, this is what I do on Tuesday, I do this 3 times a month or once a month. Since we don't have any of that, we kind of have to figure that out ourselves, and I'm assuming things just pop up because I know in my job, I think I'm gonna do this today, and I wound up putting in 10 hours, and I've done 84 things and never touched that. That's probably what this job is, right? You put out whatever fires there happen to be, and those things come about because of phone calls and such. So, Mr. Raker, emails, can you get we need to talk business on, like, what's going on with this, stuff came here, we have nobody to take emails, we have nobody to take phone calls. Can we transfer those things to,
Well, that's contingent actually upon your severance.
okay, good thing we talked about, the good thing we're on the topic right now. So, it sounds like most people are not opposed to assigning responsibility to the administration on a short-term basis. Do we want to go ahead and move with that? And then, I don't think we can define it until we know what we're defining. I really think we're in a little conundrum here.
Just in general, I think it'd be good to set a kind of timeline of like what we do, like if it is handing over this to the city, timeline for hiring, timeline for the meetings, at least getting something on paper so that we have, this is the steps forward, just so everybody knows, like, this is the path we're going on. Because right now, we've had like 4 different paths that we're going on in this meeting.
That's
So I'd rather
because,
have like
I mean, you guys,
you know.
you have talked to Joan for months about this situation. Have you guys resolved anything that you can share with us that we could pick up and walk with, or are we starting from scratch? Because it seems like we're starting from scratch. So if you have something to share, that means we're not starting from scratch. By all means, do it.
Well, I'm just thinking with the hiring process is what I'm
But
thinking.
you've
right? Like,
talked to her about hiring process. You've talked to her about her succession planning. You've talked to her about all of these things, and those things have not been shared with this body. What has
We
been
have made no
discussed?
plan, nobody has made any plans
Yeah.
for Joan, we
Right,
just
I don't
talked
think you're
about.
missing anything.
Yeah.
I think there's been emails from Annika, and the same conversations have been had.
The main
Everybody has
discussion
different
we've had is
people.
that we just have this
I
attention.
don't think that's true. I don't think, I'm confident that's not true.
Can we take 3 months and use the city to help us out with the DDA for now?
Are you making a motion?
Yes.
I'll support that motion.
I didn't hear that.
Any conversation?
Can we
Really
make a
quick
motion?
though, if we're gonna do this with Joe taking over, who's gonna tell him what to do? You're gonna tell him to do some social media stuff? We can see the next month what he does, right? He'll give us a free trial.
There you go. Well said.
If we don't like it, in December, we can say we didn't like
We
it.
want a
If we got no
refund.
value, there's nothing there. Or a refund, whatever. If you're worried about us spending money, we can put a cap on it right now. I don't know. If you get.
Nothing, I just want to plan on like what we're doing. What's the game plan moving forward?
I think that's the
Like, how are
problem,
we
where
gonna
we're
direct
running in
our-
circles because we don't
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So let's go with this. We have a motion.
What was the motion, sorry?
The motion was to give you a 3-month trial. We'll pass this directorship
On
on.
let's try it.
Yeah. Well, it's a start, right?
No, no,
It's
I
comfort for
like
people.
that.
I mean, I'm sorry, it wasn't worded that way, but it's, you know what I mean? Not trying to push anything through. I know this is just uncomfortable for everyone, but I think the first thing we want to do is make a decision on the director for tomorrow, right? So this would take care of director
So
for
if somebody
tomorrow.
calls looking for the director tomorrow, do they call Joe?
You will take care of
If you
phones.
want that to be me, yes, or if you want us, if you want to allow me internally to have a discussion, so who may want to step into that position?
Yeah.
Okay,
I think I issued
Yeah.
this.
Some discretion?
I prefer B.
Thank you.
What did you say?
I just said, I prefer B, that he has discretion in terms of, he talks to 2 or 3 people and thinks, I think this person would be the best fit
Yes.
for the DD in this 3-month versus he's the person.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with that as well.
I do too. I just feel uncomfortable hiring somebody for a service when it's not really explained and we don't know who the person is. That's all I'm saying. And I love the fact
That's
that the city
legitimate.
and the DDA would be able to work in concert on all the nitty-gritty stuff. It's the mushy stuff that I'm concerned about.
I mean, let's be honest, you're still gonna be doing the social media yourself.
Yeah.
You're not gonna call Joe and be like, hey, I need you to post this,
Yeah.
right?
But
But what we are
actually-
missing in this body is communication.
Yes.
Like, I don't know these people that we
Yeah.
could even be talking to, right?
Exactly.
Anything we decide in here, we have no idea. I don't know who to share it with. I only know the people here in the audience.
But during this time, Charlie, I'd really like to be able to have you and Brandon
Yeah.
work very closely together to move the needle on that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, we're trying
to
to-
free up your time.
Yeah.
However we can.
Let's just broaden the scope, right? Continue what you're doing, Charlie, if you want to, but share that information with Brandon and let Brandon just broaden the scope. Let's just make it a little bit bigger, see what he can do. He's
I think
good at
whoever he
this.
assigns, if the person is a smart person, he's gonna be on the phone shortly after and talking to Valerie about, is it Gifty or Gifty, either one, talking to Charlie about, he's gonna have to reach out to the board members who've been here a long time to find out, tell me what usually happens in the 3rd week of November, the 1st week of December, and through the season, things like that. He or she's gonna have to do that, otherwise they're just gonna be sitting at a desk answering a phone saying, I'll get back with you.
They're gonna be doing other work when the DDA stuff pops up.
That's what I'm saying, but I mean, and then obviously the DDA members have experience, should be reaching out to this person too and saying, listen, you need to know that 1st of December, we always have done this. You don't want to-
Communication.
Yeah, it's kind of, otherwise it's gonna fail and we're just gonna waste money and this person's gonna do it. End up at 3 months, we're gonna say, what a horrible job he or she did. It's because he wasn't given any assistance from the board.
Okay, so we have a motion on the table. Does anyone have any other questions or concerns about this?
So the motion is for 3
90
months.
days, yeah, 3 months.
Have the city step in for interim for 3 months, so
We
from
put
now
an exact date
till.
on that. So
What's that?
it's 3 months from today, so that would be.
It would be 3 meetings.
Yeah, how about the
February meetings.
how about the regular meeting in February?
Yep, so the 19th,
Regular meeting in February?
So I'd like to put a date on that.
The 19th,
19th.
February
We
19th.
will revisit at the February 19th
That's right, yes.
meeting. How about that?
Yes.
What if 1 month in we see it's not working, can we
Hold
have
on.
a motion?
Absolutely.
I guess you
Just
probably
as
have
part
to
of
say-
discussion, I will be in favor of that as long as, I'd also like to make a motion that either in 2 weeks or 3 weeks before our next meeting that we have also met for deciding a direction on the executive director.
Yes.
Because I think that is also
I agree.
immediate.
Absolutely.
You need to get the ball rolling.
What's that?
We need to get the ball rolling.
Right. I'd like to get a job listed if we can by the end of the year. I think that's a feasible goal.
Are you
I
talking
know
about
we're all
the-
busy. my calendar is full here,
Are
but
you
I
talking
think it's
about a
worth
job
it.
description, or are you talking about?
Job posting.
Posting.
Job posting.
Posting.
Okay.
Yeah, I would like to see a post. I mean, this is just like not a part of a motion. I would like to see us post a job by the end of the year.
So then.
So I think that we should meet prior to our December meeting.
So the amendments that we have to add to.
Let's make two
motion-
I think
separate.
Yeah,
this
it's just, I'm
should be
just saying
separate.
that this would be
Yeah.
contingent.
This should be
I don't
two
know,
separate
how do we
motions.
do?
Okay, let's do one motion first. So the first motion that we had on the table, and it had a
Sure.
second, was do we proceed with allowing administration to serve as our director until February 19th meeting, at which point we will revisit. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, thank you. And then Valerie, you got a second motion.
Yep, so I'll motion that we set a meeting on December 4th, December 4th at this time, 8 a.m. If that works with calendars. If not, December 11th.
I can do the 4th or the 11th.
I can do the 11th.
And this is a workshop?
To set a workshop to review the existing, or the job descriptions that we've been given, our goals.
Finalize.
Yeah, to pull together our goals for hiring a new director and potentially finalizing a job description.
What time? On the board?
Can everyone make the 4th? Did I hear someone say no? Is everyone good on that?
You want this a workshop or special meetings that you can vote?
Let's just
Special
do a
meeting.
workshop, because
I don't think it needs to, do we need to vote? Really, it's
we
just
won't have to vote,
organizing.
we'll vote at the
We
next,
could,
we'll
I was
vote at the
gonna say we
following
could
meeting.
vote 2 weeks later at
Yeah,
the
I
meeting
think it's
if
just
we have
organizing.
things to.
Why can't we just, if we decide we want to post whatever, we just.
So if you have it as a special meeting, you don't have to form a conduct workshop until then pass.
Yeah,
Then we have to pay for this,
Video.
right?
That's
Video.
a question now.
You have to,
I mean, not that I'm close to having it either.
but
but-
legally, no, but I mean, do you want to, yes.
There's a question.
Excuse me, did you say the 4th?
Yes.
What time? Because that's the afterglow, and we have to set up at 4 o'clock.
Oh,
Or-
8 a.m.?
Or the tree lighting.
8 a.m.
I have that on the calendar, actually.
We just want to make sure we're not,
At 8 a.m.?
8 a.m.?
oh, 8 a.m.
That
No,
is
that's
a good,
fine.
that's a good question though,
No,
that like,
4.
I don't know if there's,
So
is there
so you guys want
an
the 4th or the
interactive
11th?
schedule for this room
The
though?
4th.
Is this room available? How do we find that out?
One way or another, I'll clarify that,
Oh.
get the location,
No, it wasn't.
square away. 8 a.m., correct?
And we'll help set the tables up, how about that?
Or you can help us all.
We'll say a special meeting.
There you go, right?
Yeah, sure.
Special
Special.
meeting?
Alright.
Okay, so that motion is out. We have a second?
I second.
Oh, a second. Okay. All in favor?
all right.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, that passes. We'll have a special meeting on December 4th at 8 a.m. Okay. We're good with all of this, we'll rehash anything else. We didn't talk about Shop Small Saturday, I don't know if you guys have anything special with that, anything Christmassy that this body's doing, or anybody you guys, or is that kind of dropped this year?
In its execution, I mean,
There's not much that this body has to do. Did we get, I don't know if Joan got stuff to dispense to people.
Yeah, usually the county gives us
Gift bags.
materials
American
for
Express stuff.
the
Yeah, I don't know if we got that.
sweepstakes
Yeah, I
and,
think we're just doing the David Coulter, local gems
Right.
right now. It's been the big push.
Okay, well,
And that's been set up and
share that information with Brandon so he can push it all out, and then let's move on to board comments. Any board comments this afternoon? Morning, sorry, afternoon, yeah. Also not evening, so that's good. No board comments? Okay, then we'll move to city administration comments. Director?
Yes, you might have noticed that the city coordinated with Spray Patch to have the northeast, northwest, and southwest parking lots damage controlled as far as the deterioration of the parking lots with the Spray Patch. One of the things that I attempted to do, there are complaints with parking, especially around the holidays, but I ran into a bit of a roadblock, was to develop some holiday signage to encourage people to keep turning over. However, chief may be aware that there's a traffic control order associated with the 1 hour, 2 hour parking, and technically that would have to go through the traffic and safety board and then an approval of council. If there's a way potentially to, I don't know, on an interim basis change it, I haven't explored that yet. I'll talk to the chief and I'll talk to the city attorney about that as well. So,
Ms. Virgin?
Do temporary traffic controllers have to go to the safety committee?
that was it, they're under a TCO right now.
They are under TC.
Right, but if a temporary one, I don't know and how long temporary is.
90
I'll find
days.
out. Okay, well then maybe we can, I'll find out.
But I just don't know that what the protocol is here, that even temporary TCOs, TTCOs have to go to the committee or not, but a chief can do it for 90 days, and then it expires.
If we do start to enforce that, we have to be really sure that all the businesses understand that it's going to happen. Because
Well, it wouldn't be an enforcement, it's basically a seasonal, be courteous, you know, holidays patrons on, and I can share those ideas with you via email, so, if it's possible, so. And it's just a way to kind of, you know, you can't enforce the 1 hour and 2 hour ones anyway, just by law.
Don't tell people that.
You can.
Well, I mean, but you're talking about marking the tires and you have to tie up the officer to have the observation.
So they are actually enforceable traffic control orders, but what has changed in the last few years is the method typically used to try to enforce those is to chalk a tire, and that's not legal anymore, so we can't chalk a tire. I suppose if there were like surveillance footage or something of that nature that shows that a vehicle's been parked there for more than an hour, are they 1 hour, sometimes I forget what they're, for 2 hours and it didn't move, you could enforce it, but generally we aren't gonna sit and watch a car for an hour or two to see if it moves for parking every time.
Yeah. So if it's possible to just create a spirit of being a sensible, responsible seasonal patron, we can put them on possibly.
Anything else?
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Do we have anyone from the council chamber that would like to share any information?
I'm sorry,
Do you have any
I
comment?
can't hear.
Do you have any comments?
No, thank you, I'm sorry.
any announcements or anything you'd like to talk about?
Well, we have our afterglow, as we call it, for our tree lighting, and it is on the 4th, and it is going to be a wonderful thing. We plan to decorate a lot in here, and I hope everybody will join us, and we'll have a lot of things coming up. We've got Euchre coming up in a few weeks, and so lots to come. Brandon will be posting all of this, so thank you.
How about personal announcements for yourself and this dashing young man that you brought with you in red?
Very good.
Personal announcement?
Alec?
Maybe
That I'm stepping down, I apologize, because I'm stepping down as president, and Alec will be the new president as of the 2nd of January. So, he's also a Clausen resident, and he works for a Clausen business, eBay. You might see it on his shirt.
He's also a Clausen Lion and very good volunteer for our community. Great person. Thank you so much. And how about any public comments for today? Okay, that's good news too. And then I guess we can call for an adjournment. Thank you everyone for making this a productive meeting.
I'll move it.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.